Well, it's that time of year, everybody. After Thanksgiving, so it's safe to put up the tree now. As you can see, the dog is thrilled that the tree's encroaching on her space. My wife ran to the store to get some tinsel. We're doing an old-fashioned Christmas tree this year. Since my mother passed away, we have a lot of all the ornaments on the tree here belong to my grandparents or my parents, in some cases even my great-grandparents. There are probably some ornaments on here that are approaching 100 years old. In particular, this one right here is really unique and really old. But we've got some really old ornaments on the tree this year that my family and I are going to split up after Christmas when we can get together. The purpose of this video isn't to show you my tree, though. It's to talk about comments that were on the video yesterday about track planning for Oak Hill, and to show you sort of what I've come up with. Here's my current layout based on Chillicothe, Ohio. As you can tell, it's dead straight. Double track main parallel to the backdrop. So one of the things I was trying to do in my new design for Oak Hill was to break that up a little bit, maybe angle the track some. So that's why I set the track plan the way I did. I'm really sort of surprised people didn't question me on it. I'm just trying to make it a little bit more interesting visually. So after toying with several ideas and everything on the computer this morning, I'm going to show you some of the challenges that the current layout plan has and some of the ideas I've tinkered with and what I think I'm going to try when I get my track. So this morning I sat down on my computer, Microsoft Excel, and I just sort of drew up some drawings, I guess. They're not plans. Before anyone comments, I realize that probably these turnout angles aren't correct and the track spacing isn't correct. These blocks, each block is 3 feet or 3 inches. So I've got 18 inches in depth and about 80 inches in length. The industries are just estimates of sizes. The depot is pretty much that's the 2 buildings and the road in that block that says depot, the little section of road. The section out at the end with no scenery, that's not included in this. So the main line is the thick black line and the spurs are the blue lines. So this is sort of what I have right now. And again, I said I didn't use the track planning software. Joe, I will check that out. I promise. I'll check out that free version of the track planning software. But I'd already gone this direction, so I'm going to continue going this way, and I'll use it if I run into any problems. Okay. So again, this is based on what I had the video on yesterday. So as you can see, my pros are my spur directions into the industries are the correct orientation as the prototype. So Cedar Heights goes into the south end, the spur does, and Cambria Brick goes into the north end. That's just the way it actually was. I like having the angle. It adds like visual interest. And I don't have a lot of non-railroad buildings on this because of the angle. I don't have anything. I just going to have the backdrop. The cons are there's no scenery between Route 93 and the tracks, as in real life, because I moved Route 93 right next to the tracks. So to try to avoid the diamond, I said that diamond makes the track placement tricky, and there's not much room for the scrapyard that way. And the industries are flipped. They're not in the correct location. So I started playing around and says, okay, what would happen if I actually made the track straight? So I put it a foot from the backdrop, main line, Again, that depot block is the same. The spur direction and the industries are the correct orientation as the prototype, but there's no way I can put Cedar Heights on there in this orientation. I don't have enough room to, without making Cambria brick really small, there's just no way I can do it. But I don't have a diamond, and I do have more room for the scrapyard and scenery between Route 93 and the tracks. But there's a lot of town to model behind the depot, and I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to have, that's almost 3 feet of town that's 6 inches deep. I don't really want to do that. Plus, I just don't think this is visually as interesting as the angle. So I went to the next one. So what I did was I thought, okay, I'll just make a mirror image of Cedar Heights clay. And so there's no diamond. Again, there's more room for the scrapyard and the scenery, like there was on the other one. The con is now Cedar Heights is a mirror image. It's not switching from the right direction. Actually, that's a pro in a way. This is sort of like you hearing people making these one turnout layouts now. So all the industries are switched from the same way. So I pull into town running south. I can run around the train, and I can start switching the industries without having another runaround. So that's sort of nice. Still a lot of town to model behind the depot, and I still don't think this is as visually as interesting as the angled one. So I came up with one more. So in this one, I flipped Cedar Heights and Cambria brick, just like I'm doing in the original one. And that cuts down, because now Cedar Heights extends behind the depot. So it cuts down the amount of town I have to model. They're the correct orientation as the prototype. And again, I still have a lot of room for the scrapyard and scenery between Route 93 and the tracks. The cons are the industries are flipped and not exactly as they are in real life. There's more town to model behind the depot than the angled version, but still it's a lot better than the other two. I still don't think the straight line is as interesting, and I don't really care for these back-to-back turnouts. So when I actually get my track, I would try to make those as far apart as possible. I think that's a recipe for stalling locomotives. If you've got, the front truck on the turnout to Cedar Heights and the rear truck on the turnout to Cambria brick, I just think that's not good. So I would try to spread those out as much as possible. One thing I do see with this, and I didn't make another drawing for it, was I could bring Route 93, actually I could bring everything. After Cherokee Scrap, I could sort of curve it this way to add some visual interest, and Cambria brick the same way. I could sort of curve them a little bit to add some visual interest on this end of the layout. So I think I'll play with that. That'll get rid of the dead straight lines like I have on my current layout. I appreciate everybody's comments. I had some good ideas. Maurice always has some good ideas. Thankfully, this time he gave me an idea before I got too far down the rabbit hole, so I won't be digging into the foam or anything like I had to another time. Like I said, I'll get my track this week and I'll start laying this out, but this is the version I think I'm going to go with right now, but I am going to try to angle, when I get down past Cherokee Scrap, I'm going to try to sort of angle it down a little bit. I may shorten the passing siding. I really don't need a passing siding that long. But then again, I run into another turnout getting close, and I don't want it to be this short up here. So, we'll see what I can do there. But if I angled the passing siding, that would make it a little bit easier to curve this on down, just to add a little bit of interest. And again, I'll curve Route 93 down too. The problem with that is Cambria brick, the siding is right parallel to 93. So if I parallel 93, I'm going to have to stay true to the real life, I'm going to have to make the spur parallel to it also. So again, I'll play around with it. Thank you for the comments, everybody. I promise I'll get some switching in here pretty soon on my other layout so you can actually see some trains running. But hopefully you've seen a little bit of my thought process on how to make this. I'm trying to stay as true to the prototype as I can. In this case, I think having Cedar Heights switched from the correct end is a lesser evil than making a mirror image of it and putting it in the right spot. That's what I'm going with anyhow right now. Everybody stay safe, and I will have an update for you hopefully next weekend. Talk to you later.